You know, events in America over the past week have reminded me very much of the final chapter of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Now, surely we all know the story. Scrooge, a very greedy, very avarice, very rich man who puts profit before anything else and anyone else, is visited on Christmas Eve by three spirits who teach him a lesson. Scrooge is a money lender. He's the one that you would get the money from the mortgage, and you have to make repayments to him. So he's sort of like a bank and a landlord all rolled into one. He's the CEO. He's the CEO of his own company. And his actions directly impact the health, well-being, and the lives of lots of characters in the book. But, you know, most obviously Tiny Tim, who dies because his family don't have the money to be able to get the medical treatment that this child needs. But this is the bit that I was thinking of. So the Ghost of Christmas Past turns up and shows Scrooge his childhood, horrible things have happened to him to make him the way he is. The Ghost of Christmas Present turns up and shows him what Christmas will be like that day, and that's where he meets Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit's family. But the one that really does for Scrooge, the one that really terrifies him into changing, is this one here, The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Now, at this point in the story, Scrooge is already starting to have a change of heart, but I suspect if the final spirit hadn't turned up, he probably would have gone back to his own wicked ways. And what is it that he shows to Scrooge? He shows him a future where Scrooge has died. He died on Christmas Eve, and he's showing him the world reacting to his death. And it's really not the reaction that Scrooge was hoping for. He shows him the reaction of two people that Scrooge had lent money to, whose house is about to be repossessed by Scrooge because they can't make the payments, and here it is. The woman is at home waiting for her husband to come back with news about whether or not they're going to get thrown out of their house, and just sort of right below me here, he's past relenting, said her husband. He is dead. And then, she was a mild and patient creature if her face spoke truth, but she was thankful in her soul to hear it, and she said so. With clasped hands, she prayed forgiveness the next moment and was sorry, but that was the first emotion of her heart. So these people are happy he is dead. This terrifies Scrooge, and he asks to be seen something else from this future. And he shows him a group of businessmen that Scrooge knew. And at this point, Scrooge has no idea that they're talking about him, but he's starting to suspect. And these men are laughing too. They're laughing, they're making fun of him. They're talking about how he was a scrounger, about how he couldn't have taken his money with him. There is no kindness or connection with this man's death at all. Scrooge is starting to twig at this point that the man that they're talking about might be him, and he asks to see something else. And he's taken to a pawn shop where his housekeeper, Mrs. Dilbert, has stolen his bedding, his curtains, even the cloth that he was sleeping under, and is taking it to be pawned. And they're laughing too. They're laughing about what a miserable old man he was, and they're just flogging off his material possessions. And look right underneath me with Scrooge starting to actually really get the gravity of what's happening now. I see this, the case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now. Merciful heaven, what is this? And then he takes him to the graveyard and makes him brush the snow off of the tombstone, which has his own name written on it. And then he finally realises the man that everybody is laughing about and everybody's joking about, and people are actually pleased that he's died, that's him. And it's that lesson that finally forces Scrooge to change. The idea that he's led such a reprehensible life, that he has exploited people so cruelly and caused so much pain and damage that people would actually be happy and laugh and make jokes when he died. That is the instigator for change. An interesting lesson that some people seem to be taking a very, very long time to learn.